Well, good night or good evening. Welcome to another one of our weekly live streams. If you're like us, you are spending each night or you're spending your days quarantined in our house. We joke, we call it quarantine. It's not like we were earlier in the year, but at the same time, we're still engaged in a lot of the same activities we were doing earlier in the year. My wife, bless her heart, every time she goes to the grocery store, she's still bringing all the groceries in to a quarantined area of our kitchen, wiping everything down before it goes into the cabinets, doing the kinds of things that she needs to do to keep our family safe. But here we are, we're coming up on a new school year, and our younger son is beginning to start college. And so we're making preparations for that and doing the kinds of things that we need to do to get him prepared for going off to, I say going off, he's only going a few blocks down the road, going to Lubbock Christian University to go to college this fall. And then also we talked to our older son who is in Alabama, and he's still at his office. They're still engaged in the quarantine type activities where no one's coming into the office, and they only come in periodically on weekends and whatnot to get papers and those kinds of things. So if you're like our family, it's still a major disruption in your lives, what's going on, and so it's serious business. I was having a talk today with someone who said, "Are you still living your life in fear?" And my response was, "No, I'm not living my life in fear. I'm living my life in such a way that I'm making smart decisions." For instance, as a parent, when it comes to how you raise your kids, you tell your kids, you teach your kids to make smart decisions, and we want to do the same thing when it comes to our everyday life. We want to make smart decisions. This person said, "Are you still living in fear? Why, you just need to get out there and just live your life." And my response is, well, yeah, you do. But you need to make smart decisions and live your life in such a way that you minimize your exposure, minimize your risk. Because, like we teach our kids, all it takes is one wrong decision to ruin your life. That's the way we raise our kids. Now, we're not raising our kids to live their lives in fear, but we're raising our kids to make smart choices. When it comes to drugs, we tell our kids, one wrong move, one wrong decision when it comes to if somebody offers you those drugs, that could be the thing that totally changes your future and not in a good way. It's the same thing when it comes to coronavirus. Get out there and engage in activities that exposes you to the virus, and it could be something that results in very serious health consequences. So, like I said, in our family, we're still taking this very, very seriously. But at the same time, we're lighthearted enough that we can go and we can have videos that go and acknowledge that we're living in the coronavirus and those kinds of things. And so that video was a little intro into our guest that we have this week. We have Erik Mahal, who is here to talk to us about the 4th on Broadway celebration. And, this was supposed to be the 30th anniversary of the 4th on Broadway celebration. Erik, welcome. And what can you tell us about that 30th anniversary celebration?
Hi, John. Thanks so much again for having me on this evening. Like you just said, we did the event in its current form started in 1991. So we were really looking forward to having, a 30-year celebration blowout kind of event. We are a nonprofit organization that does all of our, puts on this event for the community through generous sponsor donations as well as some grants. And, it just means the world to us to be able to provide this service and celebrate the incredible American spirit and the spirit that Lubbock encapsulates itself. So we were really looking forward to being able to have, the normal event as it usually stands in person, but obviously, situations are a little bit different. So we still have a fun celebration planned this year moving forward.
So people are wondering why switch formats. Obviously, it's because of the coronavirus, but can you talk a little bit about the planning that went into trying to put the event on at a later date?
Absolutely. So, we always laugh, everybody who works internally with the organization is, July 4th is a ton of fun. We're usually exhausted. There might be a day or two of cleanup afterwards, but we start planning for the next year probably on July 7th. It is a total cycle of, it's nonstop in terms of planning for the event. So we were, last year when it wrapped up, it was a tremendous success of an event, and we were really looking forward to 2020 with that 30th anniversary. And we planned everything pretty much accordingly, how we normally go about things, up until obviously about March, when that first emergency declaration was announced, and that severely limited the amount of people that can gather legally, even in outdoor spaces in the state of Texas. And, at first we wanted to just kind of hold off and see, how this kind of shaped, how things developed. It seems like it's hard to imagine a world where, this wasn't a thing. But, we were kind of playing it by ear, hoping things would get better. And obviously, pretty quickly, we realized that July 4th, that deadline was going to be near impossible to meet. So we made the difficult decision. We met with, our sponsors, we met with the city, we met with citizens, as well as internally, and we made the difficult decision to try to move it to Labor Day, in hopes that that 2-month buffer would kind of allow things to calm down and those emergency declarations to expire, and kind of allow for large mass gatherings again. And, as we kind of continued to move forward and August started, it was clear that that was not going to be possible, just with the way things were trending, specifically in Texas too. And it's out of our hands. It is really, it's a national emergency and a state emergency declaration that bans us from having, mass gatherings. So we wanted to try to make a way to, still celebrate the incredible spirit of America, and then also celebrate something really unique and incredible about Lubbock, which is specifically that we have such talented musicians. Lubbock also just got a music-friendly city designation by the state of Texas, which is, in my opinion, very surprising that we didn't have prior. Obviously, cities like Austin had it, and getting that designation kind of just is a recognition from the state of how incredible our musicians are, the amount of live music that we have playing on any given night. And even during the pandemic, we saw local musicians do things like set up shop in parking lots and play music for people who were waiting to get takeout orders. And it was that kind of resilient spirit in the music community that helped us understand, like, hey, how can we make this special, still celebrate America, still celebrate Lubbock? And that's when we ultimately kind of decided to move forward with this pre-recorded broadcast that showcases, over 35 acts of the most incredible West Texas talent.
Yeah, and I've been putting it up on screen. It's moved to a new date, and I've already started putting it up on screen because I imagine your boss wants to get the word out as much as possible. We've got a new date for the 4th on Broadway celebration, but talk a little bit about what this new event will be, and tell us a little bit about that date.
Absolutely. So as you're putting it up on screen, as you said, it will be August 30th, and it'll be aired across 4 different TV stations that you're showing: Fox, My Lubbock TV, KLBK, and KMAC. Fox and My Lubbock will be at 2, KLBK will be at 2:30, and KMAC will start at 3. All of those are PM. And it's going to be about a 3-hour stream of, we've worked tirelessly with some incredible musicians in the area, both the Caldwell Collective, who usually performs at the nighttime evening concert on 4th on Broadway, and then we also invited several talented acts throughout West Texas, as well as some fun surprises that we're going to tie in as well. So we're going to hear covers, we're going to hear original tracks. There's a couple really original pieces written specifically about Lubbock that I think a lot of people will appreciate. And, working alongside just the musicians and Civic Lubbock to make sure that this event showcases not only, the fighting spirit of America and the fighting spirit of Lubbock, but also the fighting spirit of 4th on Broadway, because this is, a hurdle that nobody could have anticipated but we feel that bringing, one of the most crucial and special parts of what Fourth on Broadway is, and that's the wide, diverse range of musicians we have performing both in the daytime picnic and then as well as the evening concert, and then inviting even more people that we wouldn't have been able to feature, the day of just due to timing issues. So it's taking what we believe is one of the most important and special and unique parts of the event and making it available for the community in a way that is, easy to access. We tried to stagger the times to make it so if you're busy at a certain time, you can still catch different parts of the actual broadcast. And that's kind of, the thought process behind moving digitally.
So I imagine you might be seeing the next, who knows, you might be seeing the next Natalie Maines on TV when you watch that.
Exactly. And that's one of the fun parts of this broadcast is, we have performances from kids as young as 12 who, I tried to learn the guitar a couple times in my life, and I'll make a public apology to my friends and family for how terrible I was. But to see these 12-year-olds or these kids who are under 16 even just be able to perform at the level that they are, it's all inspiring. It's really, really exciting. So there's a ton of, like I said, local as well as just kind of regional musicians coming in. We have Caldwell Collective, we have Will Bannister, Dustin Garrett. There's a trio of the younger kids named Blackwater Drawl, which I advise everybody to definitely look out for. They are an incredible trio of students at the Caldwell Vocal School who are really just doing spectacular things. So there's definitely an opportunity to see some up and rising talent in the Lubbock community, as well as some mainstays and names that everybody recognizes.
What are some of the challenges that were involved in switching it over?
That's a great question, and a lot of the challenges stemmed initially from just the uncertainty of the actual, situation that we're living in. Obviously, we wanted to make it as smooth and gentle as possible, but the reality of it is week to week the news changes greatly. There was a time period there where we thought things were actually getting better, and then things started to spike again. So just the general uncertainty was what was kind of the driving factor of making it really difficult to make that initial decision to cancel the in-person event. And then in terms of actually putting together a broadcast of this level, it's several hours. There are countless musicians who all had to, travel to Lubbock. And we're not just settling for basically putting on a show and having somebody with an iPhone in the audience live streaming this. This is a full production, multiple cameras. It's going to be hosted. We have intros and outros. And like I said, both cover songs and original productions. So it took a lot. It was very logistically challenging. Luckily, internally with Caldwell Entertainment as well as Fourth on Broadway, there's a litany of very, very talented both musicians and people who are kind of doing the technical side of things. So we were really lucky to kind of have a group of individuals who could dedicate, almost 2 weeks of their time in the evenings just to get together to make this virtual event be possible. So it was tricky initially, but once we kind of had things laid out a little bit, we were able to fall back on the expertise of our team.
You talked before about how you start working on the next year's production or the next year's parade as soon as that year's parade's over. I imagine this has kind of messed up your schedule some in terms of next year. Can you tell us a little bit about the plans for next year? Are there plans to keep doing what we're doing for this year, or go back to the old way next year? What's the plan?
I think that's a big question that the community has as well is, is this the end? And absolutely not. We hope, and by all indicators, next July should be absolutely fine to be able to have mass gatherings again. And that's our hope, is to kind of just take a step back and go back to the old in-person format. But, it has given us an opportunity to kind of review and take a serious look at, what we do offer during the event. And how we can improve that event further. I know last year we were able to bring a Ferris wheel for the very first time, and in planning for 2021, we definitely have some new things that we're considering as well. But that is one thing I want to make sure everybody knows. This will not be, the status quo moving forward. We absolutely are looking forward to seeing everybody in person again in 2021. And we have already started working on kind of the logistics of what that looks like for next year. So that's the plan for now. And, fingers crossed, everything kind of continues to just calm down and we're able to get through the pandemic and be able to celebrate together in person, both, American excellence and the birth of America, as well as that Lubbock fighting spirit.
Well, Erik, thanks a lot for being on. Is there anything else that you want to say before we say goodbye?
Yeah, absolutely. Just real quick, we had so many incredible sponsors, and this was, a lot to ask for them to kind of help us with moving it from the in-person event. And we're really happy because we were able to get them excellent visibility, because these are the people that make this event and will make the 2021 in-person event possible. So we wanted to make sure that they were recognized for not only, their contributions, but also being a team player for putting this together. Some of our higher level sponsors include United Supermarkets, the Gorilla Law Firm, the Civic Lubbock, Sonic, Caprock Cardiovascular Center, Art Alderson BMW, Covenant Children's Hospital, Sunbelt Rentals, Fibermax Cotton, the City of Lubbock, Coca-Cola, Bolton Oil and Gas, and of course, Caldwell Collective. So I just wanted to make sure everybody knows how much they've helped out, making this transition and giving us the opportunity to continue this next year in person with our normal event. So that's the last piece I have on it all.
All right, Erik. Well, thanks for being with us. We appreciate everything that you're doing to make Lubbock a better community in which to live, and I know that you've worked in this capacity with Caldwell Productions and with the Fourth on Broadway Productions and Fourth on Broadway event stuff. I know you've worked on that in the past and really done a great job, and appreciate your work that you're doing now and the work that you'll be doing in the future. So thanks for being with us.
Thanks, John.
All right, so that's our live stream for this evening. Once again, please go and Google. You can Google our website. It's at www.electjohngibson.com. Go to our website, and there in the top corner of the screen, you'll see the green button. Go up there and click on that button, and you can donate to our campaign. If you like what you see here on the video, be sure and click like on Facebook, and then also join us every single Sunday night. This is what we've been doing every Sunday night. Some nights we've had some kinks on doing them. Some nights we've gone without kinks. And the whole point of doing it is to get better each time, and have guests on and to engage with the voters. Get out there. Because of coronavirus, it makes it a lot harder for us to talk face to face, but we want to go and communicate with voters in such a way that gives voters the opportunity as well to interact with us. And also, as I've said previously, me being, I would like to think, somewhat technologically adept, this is what I plan on doing when I'm elected as your state representative, is I plan on whenever I'm in Austin, I want to make sure that you understand that what I'm doing on the public's payroll is stuff that I'm supposed to be doing. And so I plan on utilizing technology and bringing the voters into exactly what it is that your state representative does, so that way people have a better understanding of what your state representative does. And also there's the accountability there, so that people know that when I'm in Austin, I'm spending my time on business on behalf of the taxpayers of Lubbock and on behalf of the citizens of Lubbock, and especially Texas House District 84. So thank you all for being with us tonight, and we look forward to seeing you again next Sunday night, same time. Goodbye.